Hi guys, today we are going to look at expanding triple brackets. You should already have some knowledge on expanding brackets, such as this. 2 brackets x plus 5. Hopefully you are all happy with this. You just do the 2 times the x, which gets me 2x, and then 2 times a positive 5, which gets me a positive 10. If I make it slightly harder now and have 3x, x minus 2, expanding 3 times x gets me 3x squared, and 3x times negative 2 is going to get me negative 6x. The reason this is negative 6x is because I've got a positive 3x multiplied by negative 2, so the positive multiplied by the negative will give me the negative here. One more just of this style, 4xy multiplied by x plus y gets me, now here I've got 4, I've not got a number here. Effectively what I've actually got is a 1 here because I've got 1x. So it's 4 times the 1, which gets me 4. Then the xy times the x is going to get me x squared y. And then what I need to do, I'll just put that arrow in, and then what I'm going to need to do is the 4xy multiplied by the y. So again, the number in front of the y here is 1, so 4 times your 1, they're both positive, so plus 4. xy multiplied by y is going to get me xy squared. So those are expanding linear brackets. Then what we are going to look at is expanding double brackets, which will give us a quadratic expression. So if I start off with x plus 3, x plus 7, hopefully you have seen something like this before. Now there are lots and lots of different ways of doing it. Your teacher may have taught you to do it doing a grid method, or they may have taught you doing the smiley face method, or they call it FOIL. Any of those are absolutely fine. I do it with what some of you may either call FOIL or the smiley face method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my first 2 terms. So I'm going to do x times x. That is going to get me x squared. I'm then going to do my outside 2 numbers multiplied by each other. So x times 7, both positive, is going to get me plus 7x. I'm then going to do my 2 inside numbers. So positive 3 multiplied by x is going to get me plus 3x. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my last 2, which is 3 multiplied by 7, so I get plus 21. What I now need to do is I need to simplify this. So x squared, there are no other x squareds in my expression that I've got here, so that is going to stay as x squared. Moving on then, I have got plus 7x plus 3x, so I'm going to have plus 10x, because 7 plus 3 is 10. And then the plus 21, there's no other numbers on their own, so that plus 21 goes at the end. Okay, another example for you like that. X minus 2, x plus 5. So my first 2, x times x, is going to be x squared. My outside 2, x times 5 plus 5x, because they are both positive. And then my inside 2 is negative 2 multiplied by x. Now I have a negative times positive here, so that's going to be minus 2x. And then my last 2, I've got negative 2 multiplied by 5. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Now to simplify that, no other x squared, just that one, so x squared. 5x minus 2x gets me a positive 3x, because I start with 5 and then I take away 2. 5 take away 2 is 3, and then numbers on their own, just negative 10. Okay, another one, x minus 8, x minus 1. So first two is x squared, outside 2, x times negative 1 is minus 1x or minus x, inside 2 is minus 8 times x, which gets me minus 8x, and then finally my last two, minus 8 times minus 1. Now here I have a negative multiplied by a negative, so the result of that is going to be a positive. And so x squared minus 9x, because I have minus 1 and I'm taking away 8, and then plus 8 there. One more just to fill up my page, and then we'll move on to our triple brackets. So I have got 3x plus 1, x minus 2. So this time I've got a coefficient, which is a number in front of my x. So 3x times x is going to get me 3x squared. My outside 2 is 3x times negative 2, which is minus 6x. My inside 2 is 1 times x, so plus x. And then finally 1 times negative 2, positive times by negative, will result in a negative. Now to simplify, 3x squared is my only x squared term, so that just stays there. Minus 6x plus x, so minus 6 add 1 gets me minus 5x, and then the negative 2. Now, before you continue with the triple brackets, please make sure that you are confident with expanding double brackets. Maybe do a couple of questions just to refresh your memory on how to do those. But now what I'm going to do is show you how to expand triple brackets. So my first one for you is going to be x plus 4, x plus 3, x plus 1. So here you can see I've got 3 brackets in a line next to each other, and what I'm going to do is to expand them. Now hopefully we are all happy that expand means I need to multiply, as I've done with all of the others. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take the first 2 brackets and I'm just going to expand them like I did with those previous 4 examples. So here I'm going to do x times x, x squared, x times 3 plus 3x, inside 2, 4 times x, which gets me 4x, and then the last 2, 4 times 3, which is going to get me 12. Now I need to remember that all of that needs to be multiplied by this bracket here, x plus 1. So this looks quite confusing, so I'm going to simplify this now, just as we've done before. So x squared plus 3x plus 4x is 7x plus your 12, and that then needs to be multiplied by x plus 1. Now I'm going to use colours to try and help you follow what I'm doing. It's very, very, very similar process to what we have just done with the other ones, but first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the x squared by x to get me x cubed. X squared times x, x squared, and then when we're multiplying our powers, we have to add our powers. Technically I've got a power of 1 here, so I would do 2 plus 1, which gets me 3. That's why it's x cubed. So x squared times x is x cubed. And then what I need to do is I need to then do x squared multiplied by 1. And then x squared multiplied by 1 is just positive x squared. The next thing that I need to do is then work with the 7x. So I've done the x squared with both of these. I now need to do the 7x with both of these. So 7x multiplied by x is going to get me plus 7x squared. And then I need to do 7x multiplied by 1, which gets me plus 7x. Now it does get quite messy with your arrows, so that's why I have done the different colours to sort of help you to see what I've done each time. So that's dealt with the x squared and the 7x. I now need to do exactly the same with the 12. So I need to multiply 12 by x, which is plus 12x, and 12 multiplied by 1, which gets me plus 12. So now I've got all that, all I need to do now is simplify. X cubed. Have I got any other x cubes along in my line? No. So I'm just going to start with x cubed. I then move to x squared. Have I got any other x squareds? Yes, I've got this plus 7x. So x squared plus 7x gets me plus 8x squared. Then move on to the x's. 7x plus 12x gets me 19x. And then finally, I've just got 12 left, and therefore it goes on the end. This is your final answer to the expansion of the 3 brackets that we started with. So my next question, or my next example, is x plus 2, x plus 4, x minus 3. So as you will notice, this time I have included a negative within one of my brackets to make it slightly trickier. So expanding this part first of all, I do x times x, x squared, x times 4 plus 4x, 2 times x plus 2x, and 2 times 4 plus 8. I need to remember to include my x minus 3. Layout is really key in these questions, so please, if you can, try to follow the layout that I do, writing each stage underneath each other, so that you can follow your work really nice and clearly. This is very easy to get muddled up if it's not clearly presented. So simplifying this pink part here, x squared plus 6x plus 8, and I am multiplying that by x minus 3. So first thing I'm going to do, x squared multiplied by x gets me x cubed. X squared multiplied by negative 3 gets me minus 3x squared. Moving on to the 6x, I'm going to do 6x multiplied by x, which gets me plus 6x squared, and then 6x multiplied by negative 3, which will get me minus 18x. Finally, the 8, I'm going to do 8 times x, which gets me plus 8x, and then 8 times negative 3, negative 24. And now I just need to simplify. X cubed minus 3x squared plus 6x squared, so minus 3 plus 6 is going to get me a positive 3 x squared, minus 18x plus 8x, minus 18 plus 8 is minus 10, so I get minus 10x, and then I've got my minus 24 at the end. Final answer done. Okay, next question. I've got quite a few different styles of question to help you, especially with the negatives, because the negatives usually are the thing that trips students up, and it's really checking your work carefully. I think most of the errors that you are likely to make on this won't be because you don't understand how to do it, but it's because you've just made slightly careless error when you have been multiplying with your negatives and your positives. So my next one is x minus 2, x plus 1, x minus 7. This time I've got two negatives in my question. So do the first two brackets first of all. So x times x, x squared, x times 1 plus x, minus 2 times x minus 2x, and minus 2 times 1 is negative 2. If that's too quick, you do need to go back and revise expanding double brackets, which you should already have learnt. Now to simplify, x squared minus x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 7. So x squared multiplied by x gets me x cubed. X squared multiplied by negative 7 gets me minus 7x squared. Negative x multiplied by x gets me minus x squared, and minus x times minus 7, so a negative multiplied by negative, is going to get me positive 7x. That's positive because negative x times negative 7 is going to get me a positive. And then finally, I've lost what colour I should be on now, green. Negative 2 multiplied by x gets me minus 2x, and then again a negative 2 times a negative 7 is going to get me a positive 14. And now to simplify, x cubed minus 8x squared, because I do minus 7x squared, take away an x squared, plus 7x take away 2x is going to get me plus 5x, because 7 take away 2 is 5, and then finally plus 14 at the end. Okay, my next one, x minus 5, x minus 2, x minus 3. All negatives in my brackets this time. First two brackets, I'm going to do this really quickly now because hopefully you're confident expanding double brackets. So I get x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 10. Not forgetting my third bracket at the end. And simplifying that pink above. And then to expand, x squared times x gets me x cubed. X squared times negative 3 gets me minus 3x squared. Minus 7x multiplied by x is going to get me minus 7x squared. And minus 7x times, oh, I've done that underneath, oh well, it doesn't matter. Minus 7x times minus 3 gets me positive 21x. And then finally, I've messed up because it's all gone a bit, so you see how crazy it can get if you don't set it out quite right. 10 times x gets me plus 10x, and then 10 times negative 3 gets me minus 30. And to simplify that, I get x cubed minus 10x squared minus 3 take away 7 is negative 10x squared. 21x plus 10x is plus 31x, and then minus 30. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to move on now to some slightly trickier ones because I want to try and get as many different types of example in the video as I possibly can. So this time what I'm going to have is I'm just going to have a coefficient of x in one of my brackets. So I have got here 2x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 5. First two brackets first of all. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is going to get me plus 6x. 1 times x is going to get me plus x. And 1 times 3 is going to get me plus 3. I'm just going to simplify this now, which gets me that. And I need to remember to include that final bracket that I need to multiply it by. Okay, hopefully I can get the right order and the right colours this time. So 2x squared times x is going to get me 2x cubed. 2x squared multiplied by 5 is going to get me plus 10x squared. It's plus 10x squared because 2 times 5 is 10. So that's where the 10 comes from, and then obviously I've got my x squared. 7x multiplied by x gets me plus 7x squared, and 7x times 5 is going to get me plus 35x. And finally 3 times x is going to get me plus 3x, and 3 times 5 gets me plus 15. Simplifying this all, this is my only x cubed term, so I get 2x cubed plus 17x squared from the 10x squared plus 7x squared. Then 35x plus 3x is going to get me 38x, and then plus 15. Okay, here is one where I have got coefficients of x in 2 brackets. I also have got a negative in here as well. So I've got 3x plus 1, 2x minus 3, and x plus 4. So, as always, first 2 brackets to get me started. So, 3x times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6, and x times x is x squared. So 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times minus 3 is going to get me minus 9x. 1 times 2x is plus 2x, and 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Remembering that bracket on the end there. And then 6x squared plus, oh, not plus, minus, no, oh gosh, I'm not simplifying this. Let's start again. 6x squared minus 7x, because minus 9 plus 2 gets me minus 7, minus 3, and then remembering x plus 4 in the end there, and 6x squared multiplied by x gets me 6x cubed. 6x squared times 4 is going to get me plus 24x squared. Then minus 7x multiplied by x. I don't know why there's so many 7s. I just seem to have chosen lots of numbers, 3 and 4s it looks like, that just makes that middle number 7. So sorry about the amount of 7s in these questions. So back to this, minus 7x multiplied by x gets me minus 7x squared, and then minus 7x multiplied by 4 gets me minus 28x. And finally, minus 3 times x gets me minus 3x, and minus 3 times 4 gets me minus 12. Simplifying that then, I get 6x cubed, because I've got no other cubed terms in my expression here. 24x minus 7x is going to get me 17x squared. Try and do the mental maths on that. 24x squared minus 7x squared is 17x squared. Minus 28x minus 3x is going to be minus 28, take away 3, which is going to be minus 31x. And then obviously on minus 12, just 6 on the end. So in this video I have given you lots of different examples to help you expand single brackets, double brackets and triple brackets. Hopefully there is enough variety to help you with all the different styles of questions that may pop up for you. And yeah, hopefully you have found this video useful.